Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to PCM20. It's Champions. We're on episode 55. This is the final regular episode, as this is the last race of the last full season that we're going to be running on this one. It's Lombardia, final monument. A lot of climbing, a little bit of cobbles right before the finish. And, of course, with the self-managed AI handling of the calendar, the team is in total disarray at this point in the year. So we've got a lot of red when it comes to race day condition. Unfortunately, our favorite for this race is Gamora, and she's sitting on a -5. But even then, 73 resistance isn't too bad. 76 mountain, 78 hills is not too bad. 76 sprint, 78 acceleration. Yeah, it's still decent. So she might still be among the riders we select for this, but Iron Man, that's 78, 80 with 82 resistance could be. That's definitely one of our leaders. Ant-Man's not looking great. Black Widow is one who came into this. I unselected a couple and picked up a couple because they still had fitness and didn't have fatigue. Black Widow was one of those. She still ended up on a negative. Will have to be one of our choices for the day. Hulk, I think, is going to have to be a natural choice for the day, just based on not being too bad off. So Star-Lord, and then Black Widow. Okay, I suppose that's what we're going to work with now. 200 kilometers left to go, basically for good for this series. Other than I'm going to take a look into the database in a future season, try to run through. It might not happen this Saturday in terms of 2 days from now. It might be early next week before I get that last episode put out, because it's going to take more time to produce an episode like that where I'm going to have to quick sim through an entire season. And that's a lot of button click, wait, click, wait, click, wait, back and forth before you can finally kind of get through it. And I'll be able to do that kind of running in the background while I've got other things going on. But when I have time to sit for an hour and a half or 2 hours and run through an entire season, I don't know. Just to get to where we need to be in the database, I'll pick one race just about at random, maybe Paris-Roubaix or something like that, to run. And so we'll have one race and then a database check. But I want to see what happens when we get to level 20 with all of these characters. Now, as for where we're at right now, I'm not sure. I mean, we're getting close. I've got 6, 7 characters over 80 now on here, but where exactly they are in terms of levels, I don't know. I couldn't tell you where they're at because I haven't checked since the beginning of the season. So we'll do a database check here at the end of the year. We'll also do a quick check on Super Prestige and see just how far we've gone into blowing away the competition this season. Send the rainbow jersey wearer, Ant-Man, back to be domestique today. Get water for the team. There you go, 150k to go. So we're not even that far off from our next window on getting water. But the biggest climb of the day, not too far from now, and then that crazy undulation, 5 climbs in a row, that's going to do some serious damage. We're going to enter that climb, it looks like, fresh, and we will enter that, I think, with water once again. We already have some riders off the back, and I think this is probably a better time to go grab water a second time before we hit the climb. Nice. Oh, nice. Took care of it well before the climb. Alright, let's prepare for the climb just a little bit. We'll say 79. 10 riders in the break. 2 minutes and a half up the road. And we enter the climb. 1,300 meters, 10.7 kilometers, 8%. That's nasty stuff. And we're seeing immediate attacks from a couple of those strong climbers, but aren't exactly the strongest climbers. Hoping to get up the road far enough to maybe win the stage and beat out the breakaway. They've joined them. It's 15 riders now, but they only have 2.5 minutes. Now, I do have contenders, so maybe it's time to kind of take over at the front. So Ant-Man working now. Okay, push in tempo. Immediately starts splitting off some riders and pulls back. Good little bit of the brake and breaks off the front. All right, now we have a breakaway of just 57 riders after we went over the top of that. Who were you protecting? You were protecting Iron Man. Let's go ahead and get back to that. And then with 80 kilometers to go, we do need water again. It's coming back together a little bit at this point, but definitely not all. Okay, that need for water is probably immediate. Let's get back on the front. We're going to hit the top of this peak pretty quick. It's going to be a short descent, though. It's going to be really hard to cover that off, but it's a small group. Well, smallish group. It's back together a little bit, 105. Just 6 riders left off the front. I'm guessing those guys that took off might still be there. Alright, we did the water. Nice and quick. Catching Ant-Man's a little harder, though, as he's the one leading the front of this thing. Okay, Gel. Star-Lord's going to take over soon. Gamora. Yeah, we're going to have to ride for Iron Man. Gamora's -5 is just going to be too bad. Okay, this is one of the steeper climbs of the day, and Ant-Man's done. That's why he's going backwards. So let's get Doctor Strange working the front. Star-Lord's done too. And it looks like might have an issue with a couple riders going backward. Increased pace all of a sudden. Push at the front. Cataneo. Italian national champion, but only a 73-74.
A rider has just suffered a puncture.
Okay, there's our second to go out the back. And we're down to just 33. Make that a little bit less. We need to get these guys back up there. Gamora. Go make contact.
So it's
Let's make that 33 again.
Which will allow the riders to catch their breath.
Gamora, that -5 on that downhill rating. She's actually losing ground instead of gaining ground, even though she's supposed to be pushing and leading this group because of her weakened downhill state. She lost a lot of ground there. Lost the group that we were literally in and lost contact with those in front of us. Doctor Strange going backwards. Hulk on the edge going backwards. But that's okay. I think we're going to do a team effort thing on this one with 2 climbs to go. We're going to save Hulk's energy. That's who we ultimately ride for, and we're going to sacrifice Gamora here early to try to get back up there. That one rider is not going to do a whole lot if we don't do something. Okay, on to Black Widow. Gamora, done. The rider of the day who ended up on a stinking -5. There's Cataneo. There's Hamilton. Coming back at a race favorite in Bernal and Vlasov. Both among the 2 or 3 favorite riders. And now we're coming back towards Hulk now. Still another climb to go. And we've now made it back to Hulk. Hulk just needs to get in line. And you can see the pain in the legs. And there's only that handful of riders now able to kind of push on. But we're able to push on.
This climb features some dreadful percentages.
Okay, Black Widow, done. Iron Man, not going to last much longer. I want to try to get over this climb with support. Okay, Black Widow doesn't make it. Mohlberger doesn't make it. They were the early attackers. Okay. Iron Man just go flat out. It's 4 riders ahead. No, 5 riders ahead. Gaudu, Lopez, Higuita, Bernal, Almeida. Hulk's going to get a slight recovery and have to make up that ground. Okay, Iron Man's a good descender. Just set up Hulk for that last climb, will you? It's only 1:28, and Hulk's going to be in a lot better shape than those riders. Oh, we got to go. Oh, no. Follow.
Attack! Apparently, the leader is on the ground. Attack! It's a good moment to show the team colors.
Alright, Hulk. Let's see how quickly we can make up this ground. That's Almeida. Yes. Portuguese national champion Almeida. Left Iron Man behind. Haven't quite split this group off in the way I thought we might. But we've already brought it down. Okay, we've nearly covered it off, and then we're going to have to recover. Now it's 3 riders, so we didn't bring everybody with us. That's good. Bernal right on the back of the group. Let's just sit on, and recover. 6 in the front. That's Gaudu. Down to 5.
Falling behind! A team leader is falling behind! They're heading downhill, so they've got to make sure to keep warm and make no mistakes on their
Hulk already
trajectory.
recovering. 23K to go. Nice long descent here. Just a group of 5. We're at 30 seconds over Almeida and then Paulus, both of the Yates brothers, and Uman. At the front, it's us, Gaudu, Bernal, Lopez, Higuita. And I'm going to be at almost full strength for that final push. And they're thinking about the stage, so at this point, I don't even have to work. I'll happily take full strength into that final little cobbled section and push. We have a 70 cobble rating today. Only 70 on the hills, though. So that's going to be difficult, but we're a decent sprinter. Now it's 6.
There are just
10K to go. Okay, coming up on it. It's obviously going to be an attack. And speaking of, they all go into attack mode.
There's a report over the radio of
That's going to use up a lot of energy for them. And Hulk,
he's back in the saddle.
come on. Cover that off without committing that same error that they all just made. In the group. Okay, this is it.
To the finish line.
Come through. Oh, it got blocked off.
Attack with the finishing line within reach. This climb is feared by many riders. The percentages
Come on,
are
Hulk.
very high.
Does not have the cobble rating necessary. He loses the ground on these guys. And they got distanced. 3K to go. Got to recover a little bit for the final sprint. We're fighting for 4th place now,
The
though.
finishing line is at the bottom of the slope. It's the final moment of excitement.
Okay, now we start our final attack
Falling behind.
over
A team leader
Bernal
is falling behind.
and Almeida.
There goes the mad burst for the final sprint.
And we got out
He
cobbled.
managed the sprint
Higuita,
like a master
Gaudu,
of his
Lopez.
craft.
We're going
He
to
was
get
certainly
5th
the
place.
fastest today. The tail
Almeida
leaders are still
also.
coming in.
outpacing us on the way to the line. Hulk that week, he's at full strength as we hit the cobbled section there, and just had his, he was ridden off the wheel, even though he was attacking. That was definitely stat-based. He just didn't have the kind of cobble rating or the punchiness that some of those guys have. Hagita, 80 on the hills. That's what got him away. And 77 acceleration. Gaudu, 79 hill, 80. Lopez, 76, 75 acceleration, all much stronger. Almeida, also significantly stronger, but he wasn't able to get away. He was struggling a little bit, but his sprint was also fairly good. It's that hills rating for Hulk that is way behind all 5 guys in the group. He's actually kind of lucky to beat even one of them as you hit that pivotal moment late on. He was absolutely in contention for everything, but all of them much punchier than he was, and it showed because he went flat out and got spanked. Which is why we wanted to ride for Gamora, who was climbing, punchy, cobble rated, and sprint capable, but had a -5. With half of the choices for the rider of the season, I think we're in pretty good shape on that one. I gotta go with Hulk as my first choice and Groot as my second choice. Gamora third, Ant-Man winning the Worlds fourth, and Deadpool fifth, because why not select my own team for that honor? Last year, it was Egan Bernal, it was Primoz Roglic, and João Almeida is the top 3. Let's see if we can pull something off for this season, though. I'm excited to see Hulk ends up winning by a whole lot of points, and also Index. We're the only 5-star team for next season. In the individual rankings, Hulk goes first, Gamora, Deadpool, Groot 6, 7, 8. Doctor Strange was 13th in the World Tour rankings. In terms of Super Prestige, again, first place for Hulk. Cyclops gets up there in 5th place. Gamora, Groot, Doctor Strange, all in the top 10. Deadpool just outside of it. Spider-Man also up on the list. In terms of victories, Groot with 16. Good enough for a top 5. And that looks like Continental riders who are all elsewise near the top. Grunewagen, Donovan, the only other big racers. Pogacar. There's Hulk with 12. As a team, we absolutely crushed it in the World Tour rankings. Over 10,000 points clear of Ineos in second place. Continental, Citroën. And then in the Super Prestige with 16,500. We crush it. Ineos also breaking that 10,000 mark. So here's how my scoring works for the game of Decathlon for those who have occasionally followed that or follow that regularly. Each game is worth 1,000 points. To get 1,000 points, I divide the Super Prestige, which doesn't matter whether you're in Continental or in the World Tour, and that's why I use that one. You divide the Super Prestige by 10. So we're taking a 10,000 score, divide that by 10, you get 1,000. That's your max output. Now, in a normal series, I allow myself to go over that, like Ineos, who got 1,003. Now, I've done exactly that. I've had about 1,002 or 1,003 point score in this game previously, but to get 16,500, that's 1,650 points. If I hadn't capped it at 1,000, we would have had 1,650 points. We'd have an extra 650 points, which is just insane. But again, I wasn't playing by the rules, and that's why I set that cap. Jumbo-Visma rounded out the podium. Astana up there as well. But in terms of victories, 83 on the season. pretty strong. But 83 is only so great. I mean, it's better than everybody else, but we were only 23 beyond a kind of quick step. It was just that consistency of always being around the top 5, no matter the race. In terms of the world rankings, with mostly American riders on the team, you can see the U.S. just crushing it in the World Tour, but nowhere near in Continental. And then again in the Super Prestige, it's a mostly U.S. finish. Colombia, Netherlands rounding out the podium on that one, and that's where we finish the season. Now, in terms of the team and where they're at right now, you can see that we now have 3 riders 81 plus, and then we have 5 riders at 80. So that's now 8 riders at 80 plus, but then we have a few 79s, and then it's all 78s outside of Star-Lord. Star-Lord, the one lagging behind. Everybody else is 78 plus. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to push this forward to December, the same kind of point just before the turn of the season that I always use to check where we're at, and then we're going to go ahead and open that database and see just how close we are to those 20 levels and how much progress we've made and so on and so forth. So we'll do that regular check-in at this point in time. All set for our next check-in with the database. This is at the end of season 4 now. Now, in terms of popularity, I have the 2 most popular riders in the entire peloton, an 81.3, a 79.5. Nobody has higher than that. In terms of max popularity all time, an 89 is the best in the peloton. That's not from us. We have roughly an 86 with our current 81. Of course, I believe that's Hulk. Hulk also in that time from October till December is the winner of the Cyanide Trophy. Ant-Man is the other one, so that's who you're looking at as the 81 and the 79, as those are the 2 riders that went 1-2 in that contest. Now, in our value F current, so where they are as an average right now, you can see our highest is an 82.8. That's Groot. Our lowest, our only rider that is not 78 and above, is a 76.1. And that's not one of our new riders. That's one of our long-term existing riders, but you can also see it's our lowest potential rider, a 6. But I'm not sure that has been much of a factor. I mean, it's a minor factor. If we look at our 6s, there's 1 that has hit 80. And there's quite a few 6s. Oh, sorry, there's 2 that have hit 80. There's quite a few 6s. Now, everything over 80 are our highest potential riders. And if we look at our potential 8s, we've got the 82. We have a 79, a 79, a 78's the lowest there, an 81, and an 81. So yes, it's got a minor impact on how fast you level up, but fairly minor. It's definitely not a major thing. I mean, we're talking about a range of 76 to 80 for our lowest potential riders and a range of 78 to 82 for our highest. That's a difference, absolutely, but it's not massive. Now, of course, potential 1 is probably going to be quite a bit different. I would have loved to have just had that baseline to see where a 1 would be, but maybe that's for a future experiment. The squad as a whole averaged a 79.82. The original riders, not including the 3 that were added in over the previous seasons, 79.73. So actually the new riders have overtaken the old riders, where they had that higher boost. Remember, they started higher than a 50 overall. We had a 55, we had a 60, we had a 65 starting overall value. So yes, where you start makes an impact on where you're going to end up in that overall rating, as again, those 3 are now, even though they're 1, 2, and 3 years younger than their teammates, are as a whole raising the average of the team now. All right, quickly talking about the gain. The gain's been consistent through 4 seasons. So all of our riders, whether they were a potential 6, 7, or 8, they've all had something similar. Now that training value off to the side has been a little bit different. and has varied. But the gain has been pretty dang consistent across the board. Regardless, they've all been up there. Now, the capital is the main one that we're keeping an eye on, seeing how much further do we have to go, and can they actually achieve maximum attributes or not. At this point in time, our capital, we're looking at an average of 16.5 on the level, 16.43 to be exact. So we're looking in the mid 4,000s for all but the new riders. A single rider has just crossed the 5,000 threshold at 5,032. That's the highest. Our lowest at 4,144. Level 16 happens at 4,000, so they've all hit that mark. And then 6 of the 14 original riders have now surpassed the 4,600 mark, which is level 17. So there's quite a few that are about to hit level 17, and we're not too far from our first rider hitting level 18 at 5,200. The final level, level 20, is at 6,600. So after 4 seasons, we're all over 4,000, some just hitting 5. So at that rate, you figure we might get our first rider maxed out in their 5th year, but most of them are probably going to hit it in year 6. So we might have a couple seasons to get through with the database. That's going to be a little bit of work to try to get through that, to see what happens when we get to max level and what the attributes actually look like at that time. How close to maximum are they? That'll be the big test. That's going to go ahead and do it for this episode and this season, the last regular season we're going to run. We're going to have a single episode left. Like I said, it might not be until next week that I get that out, but in that final episode, I'll throw in one race. But otherwise, we're going to take a look at the database at the end of season 5. And then it looks like we're going to have to take a look at the database for the end of season 6 as well. And then get our final tallies and see where the team is at. How close to maximum can they get in those 20 levels? How long it takes, so on and so forth. And like I said, at this point, it's looking like one rider might hit it in season 5. But I think everybody else is going to hit it in season 6, other than our 3 add-ons, and I won't worry about them getting to max. But we'll see how close from a 50 starting attribute for everybody, how close they can get to 85. And then that'll tell us a lot about how this database works. That's going to do it for this one, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.